Welcome back to Entertainment Talk. Today I'm here to do another season review. This is going to be for the first season of Cursed on Netflix, which stars Katherine Langford. So let's read a little bit about this show, and then I'll give some spoiler-free thoughts and feelings, opinions and whatnot, and all that sort of stuff. So Cursed is an American fantasy web television series, based on the illustrated novel of the same name by Frank Miller and Tom Wheeler, that premiered on Netflix on the 17th of July. Premise: writing for Deadline, Nellie Andreeva describes Cursed as, quote, a reimagining of the Arthurian legend told through the eyes of Nemu, a young heroine with a mysterious gift who is destined to become the powerful and tragic Lady of the Lake after... It says something there which is a bit of a spoiler, so I'm not going to read that out. After something happens, she finds an unexpected partner in Arthur, a young mercenary, in a quest to find Merlin and deliver an ancient sword. Over the course of her journey, Nemu will become a symbol of courage and rebellion against the terrifying Red Paladins and their complicit King Uther. Uther? Yeah, Uther. So that's your kind of premise. So I'm gonna go to my don't skip ratings. Of course, I've already written it in the title. I'm gonna give this a don't skip rating. I think it's quite good. Do I think you need to watch this like right now immediately? No, but put it on your list. Put it near the top of your list, but maybe not right at the top of the list. I think this is a good show. I think it's got some weird problems, which I'll get into in a minute. I think it's got some good stuff going for it though, and one thing I will say is that you can kind of see with the whole post Game of Thrones success. Now, I'm not talking about people's opinions on Game of Thrones. I'm talking about the overall success of Game of Thrones, which sparked obviously this the fantasy genre for TV and that. And you had things like Vikings, and you've had things like Black Sails and The Witcher and Cursed, and you're going to get obviously the Game of Thrones prequels, and Amazon is doing a Lord of the Rings prequel TV show, and other things among that as well. I think for Netflix, this is a good way, this is a good way of having essentially two fantasy series, because you've got one which is a male-led show, which is Henry Cavill as Geralt in The Witcher, and then you've got Katherine Langford as Nemu in Cursed, which is your female lead. So Netflix has kind of ended up in the situation where you've kind of got you've got your female-led fantasy show, and then you've got your male-led fantasy show, which both of them are by popular actors, you know, Katherine Langford and Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill, I think, arguably the bigger actor, but I still think they're both quite good. So I think Netflix has landed themselves in a good place with that. So yeah, I kind of teased a minute ago about like, okay, the show's got some weird stuff going on. One of the things I noticed, more so early on in the season and less so with the later episodes in the season, I do think the second half, I think that the first 3 or 4 episodes are really good, and then the last 4 or 5 episodes are really good. There's a little 2 to 3 episode stretch in the middle where things get a bit kind of, I don't know, a little bit all over the place. It loses its way a little bit, and then kind of gains back its momentum, if you will. But one thing I noticed in the earlier episodes, there's something really, I don't know if it's just me or the way it's directed or the way the things are staged or whatnot. There's a really weird thing I kind of noticed with the earlier episodes in the season with the action. It doesn't quite look right at certain points in the show. The way that certain characters get cut and stabbed, and just the way certain people like swing their swords. Both Nemu and like all of the characters pretty much, apart from a couple characters a little bit later on in the show. But yeah, I kind of I found it most notable in the first episode and maybe in the second, but then after that it sort of changed a little bit. Yeah, I kind of, it's something I kind of noticed straight away. Just when certain people are getting cut or stabbed, it doesn't really seem like it's connecting very well. Like the action isn't sort of it definitely doesn't look realistic. I don't know quite what word to use. It doesn't. It sort of looks. I mean, I know it's TV. It's supposed to be fake, but it's supposed to also look believable and real, as if the characters are being stabbed and cut and whatnot. But it almost does. It's almost as if they tried to make it look fake, or yeah, they tried to make it look real, which is what it's supposed to, and it ended up looking a bit fake. I don't know. There's something weird early on with the action, and I don't think it's a nitpick really either, because there's a few, big battle kind of stuff. Well, not really battle stuff, but there's a few combat scenes or battle kind of scenes early on that are fairly important. That I think I don't know if it's the directing or the way they're staged or just the way these people have been told to fight. Even if it's like the extras in the background or the main characters or some of the side characters. It just, it's a little bit weird, and I really noticed it in the first couple of episodes. I will say in the last 4 or 5 episodes, it does get a lot better with that. It's not a recurring theme throughout the season of like, okay, the action looks bad. I do think that the action looks better later in the season, but it's still a little bit, I've seen a lot better, basically, mainly, Game of Thrones. But that was my one kind of biggest problem with the season. My most positive thing with the season, I really grew to like these characters quite a lot in this first season. I think that quite a lot of them are pretty cool. I think the villains are really quite cool as well, because I saw, obviously you see the villains kind of early on or whatever. Okay, there's two main kind of early villains, and then there's some people that are kind of introduced later and that. And one of them is essentially this, like, I call him a church guy for like a better word. He's like, praising God and that sort of thing. And then there's the guy who basically does his dirty work, the guy who's actually the one who with the sword and kills a bunch of people. Just for the record for this, in case you kind of can't tell, it might be kind of obvious. This whole cursed thing, like the book that it's based on, and any previous TV shows, before watching this show I knew nothing about this at all. So in terms of like knowing who the characters were or what's going on, the only thing I kind of heard is that the character was called something else before, and it was a male character, and they kind of did a gender switch with this, and then they had Katherine Langford in the main role. That's about the only thing I knew going in. It was basically like, okay, it's a fantasy show, it's on Netflix, those are two good things, and Katherine Langford's in it. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll check it out. And I remember when the first images came out for the show, when the trailer came out, and I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this show, I'm going to give it a go. And then it kind of made me think of like, okay, they have immediately I kind of thought like, okay, they have their male fantasy-led show, Henry Cavill as Geralt, and then you have your female-led one, Katherine Langford as Nimue. I didn't know her name or anything going into the show, that the character's name was going to be Nimue or anything, or Nimue. But no, I enjoyed the season. I thought it was good in a lot of parts, and mainly what pulled me in was the characters. I think the story here is pretty good. It's alright. The story's quite good. I think the show's got some interesting ideas. Well, the novel that this is based on's got some interesting ideas in terms of like powers and what Nimue can kind of do. I think is really interesting. So that worked its way into the show pretty well. I think Katherine Langford's good in the show. I think all the actors pretty much are good in this show. So I enjoyed it on that part as well. So let's take a quick little break here.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Donnie, and I host the Adulting with Donnie podcast. And this is not the show to listen to if you're trying to be a better adult. I started this podcast as a way to offload some thoughts that I have throughout the week. My topics vary widely every week. Movies I've seen, guns and gun control, sex, people that are stupid, why I don't care about celebrity opinions, TV shows, snowmobiling. The list goes on and on. I'm always taking topic suggestions from fans of the show too. So join me each week on Adulting with Donnie as I pour some bourbon and allow you to see the inner workings of the mind of a madman. Live free and rant hard.
I'm Christy.
And I'm Jackie.
And we are Killer Fun. We explore the intersection of crime and entertainment every other week.
For as long as people have been communicating, they have been talking about who did what to whom, and is that socially acceptable?
Because the boundaries of society,
crime,
and entertainment have always gone hand in hand.
The more salacious,
or weird,
the better. From books and movies
to television shows and games,
we look at how life and art imitate and inform one another.
And we can't get together and not laugh. So let's face it, there's going to be laughing.
Killer Fun is available anywhere you listen to podcasts, so join us.
Today's sponsor is Kualu. If you'd like to get started with a domain name and a website today, just click on the link in the show notes and that will take you over to Kualu to get started. They also have a live support chat system that you can use, which is in the bottom right hand corner. So get started with a new website and domain name today with Kualu. Hey everybody, if you would like to get the ad-free versions of all of our podcasts and support Entertainment Talk along the way, all you need to do is head over to patreon.com/entertainment talk. Sign up either as a creator or as a Patreon, there's no difference there. That's just the option for either becoming a creator now or just staying as a patron for the moment. And then all you need to do is support us at the $1 level tier. That will get you access to all of the ad-free podcasts that we've done in the past, and get you access to all the ad-free podcasts in that month as well. So it's a great way to support us on Entertainment Talk and to get rid of the ads and get your ad-free podcasts. You can also become a patron at the $3 level tier. That gets you access to ad-free podcasts and allows you to redeem a review of a TV show or a film of entirely your choice. That's one per month for either a TV show or a film review, which is at the $3 level tier. As always, thank you very much for listening. Back to the show. Alright, let's get into a little bit of housekeeping and let you know what else has been going on for Entertainment Talk. Just today, or as of a few hours ago, Manchester United drew 1-1 at home with West Ham. There is one more game left in the Premier League season, which is against Leicester on Sunday. Everybody plays their last game on Sunday in the Premier League, so we'll see if we can grab that third spot or the fourth spot to qualify for the Champions League. We shall see. Classic Reviews is still continuing season 4 episode 7 for The Cable Guy, which is the Jim Carrey season, of course. All of the 10 episodes are going to be based on Jim Carrey films that I have chosen. They've all been recorded, edited and scheduled, and they will continue to come out Wednesdays. But this week's episode, season 4 episode 7, is for The Cable Guy, so you can have a look out for that. Just scroll past a couple of other things, just old Man United podcasts from last couple of games. Classic Reviews for last week was season 4 episode 6 for Dumb and Dumber, which is one of Jim Carrey's more notable roles, I think, up there with Ace Ventura and whatnot. So last week we did a TV talk episode, but we did a sort of pilot watch episode, if you will. Robert gave me a TV show to watch the pilot for, and I gave him a TV show to watch the pilot for. He gave me The King's Avatar to watch the pilot for, and I gave him Unbelievable. They're both on Netflix. I don't think The King's Avatar is a Netflix original, but it's on Netflix in the UK and the US. Unbelievable is a Netflix original, so you can have a look out for those. We talked about on Gaming Talk, we talked about Ubisoft's Forward event, Flight Simulator. We talked about the Crash Bandicoot mobile game and a whole bunch of other stuff as well, so you can check that out. Did a podcast called The Power of Naughty Dog, just talking about the success of them. Of course, the video game developer who are responsible for Crash Bandicoot, Jak and Daxter, Uncharted and the Last of Us series, so some really big hits there. I did that to tie in with Let's Play Sundays episode 50, which was for Crash Bandicoot 1, 2 and 3 and The Last of Us Part 2 as well. I have also reviewed Last of Us 2, so you can have a look out for that if you want to as well. So that's everything that we've been doing on entertainmenttalk.org and on podcast platforms. Yeah, so I've given some positives, some negatives. One slight negative I want to give as well. So it's 10 episodes for this season. They're all around about an hour. I think one of the episodes is slightly shorter. I think they could have maybe done away with 2 episodes. Like I said, there's that middle little part of the season, maybe 2 or 3 episodes where things just kind of, I don't know, that sort of middle of the season lull that you can sometimes have, and I think the show struggles with that a little bit as well. But Other than that, I thought it was a good season. As far as we know, at least at the time of recording, I don't think it's been renewed for a second season. I haven't seen an announcement about that. It hasn't actually been out that long, has it? So it might be a little bit of time before we hear about that. I'd be very interested in a second season. I would watch a second season of the show. Like I said, I really grew to like these characters. Not like, I don't love these characters yet, but I really do like them, and I do care about them quite a lot. I think there's some very interesting characters in there. The only thing I do really want them to look at for the second season is, okay, look at what you did for the action scenes in the second half. Go back to that quality and try and make it even better than that. Because yeah, that was one of my main sort of gripes early on. Is like, okay, the action kind of pulled me out a little bit. I was interested in the characters almost from the get go, and then you get to a couple of action scenes and things just kind of don't look right. I don't think it necessarily looks bad, but things just don't look right. So you got that as well. But yeah, I think it's a good show. It's one I'd recommend. Like I said, it's one I'd give our don't skip rating for. So there's that as well. But yeah, let me know what you guys all thought. If you haven't finished the season yet, or you have finished the season, or you've maybe watched the first couple of episodes and you're also wondering about the early action stuff, or you've got to the later part of the season and you've kind of realised how it improves, or you're in the middle of part of the season, or you finished it, or whatnot, wherever you are in the season, let me know what you think. Matthew at entertainmenttalk.org, Twitter eTalkUK, there's a contact page and information in your show notes. I think that's mostly everything I wanted to discuss. So I just wanted to give some spoiler-free review. It's my season review, basically. But I just wanted to give some spoiler-free thoughts on the season. Because yeah, you've got. So let's just go through the characters a little bit as well. You've got Katherine Langford as Nimue. You've got Donovan Tyrrell as Arthur. You've got Gustav Skarsgård as Merlin. You've got Daniel Sharman as Weeping Monk Lancelot. He's the guy that I said does the dirty work for the other guy as well. I think it's it must be the Uther guy. Yeah, I think it's him. I'm highlighting his name on the page here, and it's kind of got a religious type guy. I think it's him. But yeah, I really liked him, the Weeping Monk Lancelot. I thought he was really cool. I think his character's design's really cool. His fighting style's really kind of cool. Just overall found him a really cool villain. Thought it was great. You've got Father Carden. That might be the guy that I'm talking about. It's the guy it's the guy that the Weeping Monk kind of answers to, if you will. This father person kind of tells everybody else what to do and gets them to do all the killing and whatnot and the burning of lots of people. So to him as well. The Green Knight, I thought he was an interesting character. You've got Arthur and you've got Merlin in there. They were quite cool. Yeah, so good. Yeah, Merlin, I can't say too much about his character because that would dive into some spoilery stuff. But Arthur's quite cool as well. I thought both of those were good characters. The way that they fit into the story was pretty good as well. There's one particular character, for those of you that are watching the series, it's the little boy in the show. Really brave character, and he's kind of... I like the way they put him into the show because he's kind of like this little throwaway character at the start. And then as you kind of go through the season, I can't find his name here. But for those of you that watch the show, you'll know who I'm talking about. He impressed me the more and more the show went on. I thought he was really cool. So yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the season. I haven't really got too much else to say. I thought it was good. I'd recommend it. I'm looking forward to a second season whenever that can happen, given the current situation of the world. But yeah, I thought Katherine Langford was good. I think this is a good change of pace for her career, coming away from 13 Reasons Why and doing, I think it was Love, Simon, that film as well. So her kind of stepping away from that teenager type stuff, which I do like that stuff. But this giving her a new lead role with like fantasy stuff, which will probably last quite a few seasons. I don't know how long this like novel is, or if there's different books. Like I said, I know nothing about like the origins of this story. So I don't know how long the series could go on for. Of course, they could also always make original material for it, but I imagine it's going to be sticking around for a couple of seasons. It'll probably get cancelled tomorrow, won't it? But yeah, we'll see where the show goes. But I enjoyed it, so just wanted to give my thoughts on it. So yeah, that's pretty much that. Overall rating for the show, I'd give it an 8. I thought it was, the good range. I don't think it's amazing or like a masterpiece or whatever. I thought it was entertaining. I thought the characters were interesting, and just overall a good time. It wasn't something I sort of jumped into too seriously or whatever. I'm not saying it's one of them like switch your brain off fun kind of shows, because you will have to follow a fair amount of stuff. But it's a good entertaining show. You can kind of watch it just for the characters, which is sort of what I ended up doing in the end. But they were interesting enough to me. So there's that. Cool. So that's my review for the first season of Cursed on Netflix. Like I said, let me know if you've seen it and what you think and all that. And I'll be back for the second season whenever that's going to be. Nobody has any idea yet, so we shall see. But if you like what you've listened to here, you can find everything else that we've done on entertainmenttalk.org. Lots of stuff happening at the moment. We will have a gaming podcast tomorrow. There's going to be the Xbox Showcase event. Possibly got a special guest as well, possibly. Not definitely, but possibly. And we got a bunch of other stuff to talk about tomorrow as well. So, including my mine and Robert's Ghost of Tsushima impression. So, if you like your sword fighting stuff, we've got some content for you this week. So, thank you all very much for listening. You can find everything on entertainmenttalk.org. If you'd like to support the podcast and support Entertainment Talk, we are on Patreon. You can have a look at the $1 and $3 level tiers for review options and ad-free podcast options and instant podcast options as well. Amazon affiliate link, if you're buying stuff on there, we can get a small cut of what you spend, but it won't cost you extra. iTunes feeds, please rate, review and subscribe to those as well. You can also find David through Geektown on iTunes. Just search for Geektown and Entertainment Talk on iTunes. Get yourself subscribed and rate, review those feeds. Geektown Radio is of course on Tuesdays on Geektown Radio, on iTunes feeds and on geektown.co.uk. That's for your up-to-date and reliable TV and film news. Bex is streaming quite often on her Twitch channel daily pretty much at the moment, so you can go and find her over there. Trista Bytes, Bytes, so Trista and then Bytes, Bytes. Go and search for that on Twitch and subscribe to her. You can find Barry doing his horror podcast over on Talk and Stalk on YouTube, so have a look out for that channel on there if you like your horror stuff, and Barry has got you covered over there. So have a look out for that. And that's pretty much everybody's stuff. You can, of course, share those word of mouth, tell people that you know about the website and iTunes feeds and everybody else's content. Social media, of course, you can share those on Facebook and Twitter, and if you can, in different Facebook groups. Twitch, at the moment, I'm going to be streaming on different times or whatever. Switching between Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima. I've already streamed a bunch of Last of Us 2, by the way. There's a lot of Let's Plays and videos and things like that on our YouTube channel and on entertainmenttalk.org, so have a look out for those. But follow me on Twitch if you want some Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us stuff. David also streams sometimes on Twitch as well. Also, Let's Play Sundays is on a little bit of a hiatus at the moment. That will be back soon, but look out for the episodes on there. There is 50 of them, so you can look out for those. Thank you all very much for listening, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.